there are many stories, many stories about Guan Yin Bodhisattva's marvelous appearances at Putuoshan. And the one that we all love is Maniping. Maniping was from Manchuria. She grew up in the same village as our teacher. And when Master Hua invited 100 monks, nuns, and laymen to come to City of 10,000 Buddhas, to Da Shui Lu, she was part of the group. She had an opportunity. She was famous, Man Lao Ju Shi. She belonged to the Wan Guo Dao De Hui, the 10,000 nations Wei virtue, the virtue of the Wei society. And the Wan Guo Dao De Hui was, it flourished in the 20th century, particularly in Manchuria, in Harbin, where she was a young girl, and then she married, became a mom. But she was, Maniping was good at Chen Dao. She could encourage people to cultivate. That was, the Dao De Hui was about that. It was just exhorting people to do good, to be better people, to be virtuous. She was good at it. And essentially, what's your stock and trade if you're a lecturer from the Dao De Hui is you have stories. Maniping had so many stories, endless stream of stories about people who were mean-tempered, who were angry, who were just out and out bad, and they heard the Dharma, they had a turning point in their life, and they changed, and they overcame their nasty negativity and became wholesome people. She had hundreds of stories like that. She was so good that the Dao De Hui had competitions in China to see who was number one at Chen Dao, right? Who was the best at exhorting people to cultivate. So Maniping followed the group, came to America, and the two monks in charge were Master Mingyang and, of course, Shifu, who was the host. So because Master Hua invited Mingyang Fashi, who was the number one monk in China, to come to City of 10,000 Buddhas, Mingyang Fashi, before he went back, he said, Xuan Lao, he said, we want to invite some of your disciples to come to China. And of course, our ears just turned up into sharp points, you know. Maybe me. So Mingyang Fashi said, you pick. So Shifu said, all right, you and you and you. So I got to come. And along with the group, Shifu said, Man Lao Ju Shi, he said, you want to come as our guide? We'll go to Putuoshan. And she burst into tears. She said, I always wanted to go see Guan Yin Bodhisattva. I just wanted to bow to Guan Yin my whole life, but I never had the chance. She said, I was too young, and then I got married, and she cried. She was so happy. Why are you crying, Manjushi? I'm so happy. And so she said, who would think that I came to America to get invited to go to Putuoshan? So she joined our group. And she was just thrilled. She had this habit of reciting the Maniping. And the Universal Door chapter of the Lotus Sutra. And she recited it from memory, and she did it every day. So we got on the ferry at Ningbo and overnight, huge, big ocean-going ferry. And so the next morning we get out, and we hear that there's this one particular place on Putuoshan called Fan Yin Dong, Brahma Sound Cave, Fan Yin Dong. And they say if Guan Yin Bodhisattva is going to show up, that's where it'll be. So we, everybody, and what you do is you go out, and they say it's over there. So you go walking, and you can't see it. It's just like, well, that's the ocean. You know, this is an island. It's a small island. And So they say, no, that's it. And you go over to the edge where the waves are breaking and you're getting splashed, right, with salt water. And there's a ladder. There's a green painted heavy-duty steel ladder bolted into the cliff. So you step out off the cliff, turn around, and go backwards down the ladder. I mean, you turn your back to the ocean, and the waves are now breaking over your head, and you go down, and there's this little space. It's about as big as from the glass case here to the edge. That's all. And if you are sincere, Guan Yin Bodhisattva appears to you there. That's how it works. So everybody, goes down. They're like looking for Guan Yin. Is she this big, or is she, what do you? I don't see anything. So people kind of, and then they go, one by one go back up the ladder. Well, Maniping was there, kneeling, reciting the Putuoshan, reciting Universal Door Chapter, and so I also recited the Universal Door Chapter. So I thought I better take care of her. She's the last one here. She's already 80 years old, So she's there reciting, and I hear this, and I look, and her eyes are just like this, and tears are coming out of her eyes, and she's, she said. She says, who would think that Guan Yin Bodhisattva is real? It's true, she said. And I'm like, okay. And so she's like crying, and so I said, we should go up. And so she said, and she bows and bows and bows. So I escort her up to the top, and everybody said, where were you? We've been waiting up here. I said, Maniping saw Guan Yin Pusa. And everyone's like, what? So maybe we should, so she says, there she was. She was a maiden, a young girl, wearing a white robe, and just as sweet and innocent and pure and true as all the pictures. And you could just see that Maniping, basically she could have died and gone to heaven right then, and she would have thought it was worth it. That was the deal. She saw Guan Yin Pusa at Fan Yin Dong, there in Putuoshan. So how amazing that this was 1989, and Guan Yin Pusa is still appearing to people who are sincere. Now, the other people didn't see, because maybe they hadn't spent their entire life reciting the Putuoshan every day. So Guan Yin Pusa shows up to people who are sincere. And pretty amazing that this kind of miraculous appearance could happen, into this wonderful. So Maniping finally went back to China and left home, became a nun.
你念南无观世音菩萨，你念观世音菩萨，观世音菩萨也念你，彼此互念，也就好像你想你的亲戚，你亲戚也就想你。俺们和观世音菩萨是无量劫以来这个法眷属，法亲。所以俺们想俺们这个亲戚，亲兄弟，俺们兄弟这哥哥在那也去想弟弟，俺们就是观世音菩萨的弟弟，观世音菩萨就是俺们的哥哥。俺们说观世音菩萨怎么会是俺们的哥哥？那不是太高攀了吗？不是。观世音菩萨不但拿俺们当弟弟，拿所有的一切众生都当他的弟弟。要不然的时候，他为什么要寻声救苦呢？他为什么要所有的众生有什么困难，他就帮助呢？他就 看一切众生是他的手足一样，是他的骨肉，所以他才这样啊，不怕一切的困苦艰难，而来呀救度我们在这个娑婆世界这个苦众生。我们叫一声观世音菩萨啊，里边呢包含就是哥哥。观世音菩萨就叫一声我们这个未来的菩萨，未来的佛小弟。你要能这样看，念观世音菩萨，更应该呀诚心，更应该呀亲切念的，就像念自己的兄弟一样。你要知道，尼禄克，你看呢和观音菩萨的看法不同。观音菩萨是看里边，你是看外边。观音菩萨他看他自己的自性，他自性和每一个众生都有个电波，都有个瑞达，那么他看他自己这个电波和瑞达，就知道一切众生呢要干众心，这个众生打什么妄想他都知道，他往里边看他那个电波和你看的不同，因为众生有的离他很远，如果要是虽然千手千眼，但是看这个无量无边的众生也不够用，也看不过来。那么他回光返照，反问自性，那么看自己的自性，自性的众生，那么哪一个受什么苦了，他就去救度这个众生。你看你是向外看把自己根本的智慧就忘了所以你这个看和他那个看不同的所以各位不要忘了自己这个法兄弟。咱们这儿一念观世音菩萨，观世音菩萨也就念我们了。